Hi, this is Jake at Canadian Cutting Edge, and today we're going to look at the Sanrenmu 7056. It's a nice little multi-tool. I'm going to bring you a little bit closer so you can see this knife. Hang on, the ride might be a little rough. As I bring the camera down. All right, here we are, guys, with the Sanrenmu 7056. A cool little knife. I probably wouldn't have this as my primary carry unless I was in a jurisdiction where I needed a knife that was less than 3 inches. This is just a tiny bit less than 3 inches. And it's a pretty good little knife. Let's talk about it in detail. Let's start with the blade. As I said, it's a bit less than 3 inches long. It's got a nice wedge at the top for good looks on this drop point. It's a hollow grind that allows for really nice cutting. It starts off straight and then a belly and then straight again. Very functional knife that way. Works really well. It's got some jimping up here. It's a flipper style with the post right there to do your flipping. It's a nice blade on there. It's got thumb studs, ambidextrous left and right. So that's pretty nice. It's got G10 scales. This one has a red base with black on top. You can get them in several different models and different styles of the cutout of the jimping. This checker pattern is very grippy. This blade, once it's in your hand, with this finger guard that the flipper turns into and the texture of this G10, it gives tremendous purchase. This knife will be held firmly in rain. If your hands are wet, if your hands are cold, you'll still be able to get some pretty good purchase. If your hands are getting cold and numb, you're probably going to damage your hand. This thing is so aggressive, and that's one of the negatives of it. It gets pretty hot in the hand if you grip it too hard, too tight. If you're cutting something and you're doing a little bit of whittling, the knife is adequate. I usually don't use my knives to cut on wood, but just to show you that this blade can cut on, this is some really hard pine, and it cuts really well. It just flies through paper and anything else of that sort. The tip is nice and hard. The fire treat that they did on it is really well. You can just jam it and it goes in really deep, and it just a very efficient tip, a fine tip, and it's tough. The heat treatment worked really well on this. What else can I say? This flipper doesn't work that well for flipping. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just mine, but I can rarely get it to flip all the way. And I'm not trying to fake it, even though I just got it that other time. I have to get a lot of pressure up and then let it go, and it'll flip sometimes. So I generally just use, if I get my hand around this tripod, there we go. I can flick it quite well using the thumb studs with my right hand. With my left hand, I'm not that good at flicking it, partly because this clip gets in my way, and partly because I'm just not as efficient with my left hand, even though I'm left-handed. Go figure. I'm right-handed because I had 3 older right-handed brothers, and with all the hand-me-downs of everything, I've mentioned that in other videos, so if you regularly watch me, that's getting old for you, isn't it? Okay, so let's talk about this pivot. We've got one brass washer and one plastic nylon type washer. What's up with that? Put in 2 brass washers already. Come on, Sanrenmu. It's not going to cost you that much more, especially considering that you used brass washers on these tools, on the pivots for them. But we'll talk about those in more detail soon. Mine is just a little bit tight. I took the pivot screw right out and left it without the frame not holding it together with the pivot at all. I mean, the pivot hardware. It was still, nice in the hand, but it just won't slide that free. Maybe it's the titanium coating. I don't know. I put oil in there. I've tried to free it up as much as possible. If you've got one of these knives, please comment if it has or has not the titanium coating, and tell me how well it flips for you. because I've done everything, all the optimizations to make it flip well, and it just doesn't want to flip very well. It'll flip, but just not very well. The liner lock is a nice little liner lock. There's no jimping on it. It's not needed on a knife this small. Mine locks up right around 60%. If you can see that there, I'll try to get it to focus. Come on, focus. Well, trust me, it's right around 60%. I don't use this knife I'm not going to use it as a primary carry, so I'm not going to wear that out. This knife is probably going to live in a glove box in a vehicle for emergency purposes. We'll talk about that right now, because the emergency tools on here are great. We've got a glass breaker that is easy to remove. There's flat spots on it, so you can take it on or off. And it's got 2 deployable extra tools. You've got the cord belt cutter, great to cutting a seatbelt loose if you're stuck in an accident and you need to exit that vehicle in a hurry. If you've got this in your glove box or on your visor handy, or if you're a passerby and you've got to help somebody else and you've got this in your pocket, you can render great assistance with this feature. The can opener, bottle opener, is fairly well designed. There's no sharp edges on it, and even the point will not really cut you that easy. You'd really have to tear into your flesh by pushing hard. Some cutters, can openers, are actually sharpened. This one's not. A nice thumb stud on there to help deploy it when you need to take it out. Not just like a fingernail cut opener, a fingernail opener. It has a good thumb stud. It closes very well. Both of them, I think you can hear it if you listen well. So they've got something in there, some kind of, I don't know, a detent ball or something in there. I haven't been able to tell. I haven't taken it apart yet. And it also locks up. No, that's the wrong word. It doesn't lock up. It has some kind of friction hold that holds it open. Kind of like the no-lock knives that some jurisdictions require you to carry. No, they don't require you to carry. If you have a knife, they require you to have that feature on them. No locker, just some kind of friction hold or a detent or something. So that keeps it open nicely for you. It's not going to get loose or move around for you. As I said earlier, they've got that brass washer in here. So there's 4 of them in here. They could have easily put 2 up front on that pivot, don't you think? Leave your comments below. The clip on it. Let's talk about the clip for a second. Some will find this clip to be a little too light for their liking. It's got a milled out section, so these are fairly thin there. I know it's hard to see with the light. There we go. It's on the lighter side, but for the size of the knife, I think it's perfect. It doesn't come loose. At least I haven't had it come loose in my jeans. I've carried this knife for a little over a week and a half, and it's never come loose in my pocket. So you may or may not think that this clip is strong enough for you. I wish they would have made it, 4-way carry, but right now it's just tip down, right side carry. I really wish they would have given more options for that. For me, that's a big letdown, because there are times when I'd like to carry them in my left pocket instead of my right. And I like tip up more. I'm not being snooty about it. It's just the way it is. It's more than adequate this way. It's not a race when I go to deploy it. It's just a personal preference. What else do we want to talk about this thing? This knife was just about $8.50 when I bought it from GearBest. Now it's just over $9.07. It's end of April 2016 as I make this video. This exact model is the least expensive one on GearBest of the 7056s. No, sorry, I have to clarify that. Of this style of the 7056s. You've got other colors that are available. They're just under $12. With or without the titanium coating, you have that option. And these tools. There's a totally different, I'm calling it totally different style, 7056. and I'm going to do a separate video on that when mine comes in. That does not have any G10 scales and has a frame lock instead of a liner lock and doesn't have any of these tools. Now, those three major differences tell me that Sanrenmu should have probably given it a different number, but they're calling it a 7056. So be careful when you're looking for the knife if you can't find the one you're looking for. These all end with T4. So the model number is, as you can see right here, 756 LUI-GLH-T4. All of these models that have these extra tools and use G10 have that T4 at the end, regardless if they have the titanium or not. So that's going to tell you a little bit about what you're looking at. And the ones that are the frame lock style without the tools, they don't have that extra set of numbers. They would be like this one, just cut off the number, the label, right? Without any T4, just 756 L something something dash something something. And that's all that you have for the other model. So what do you think of this video? What do you think of this knife? Please leave your comments below. Press like if you like this video. Subscribe to my channel if I've earned your subscription, if you think that it's worth a subscription. I'm doing a giveaway as I'm trying to get up to 50 subscribers. A free knife, Gonzo knife, will be given to one of 50 subscribers drawn at random. If you subscribe, look through my list of videos. There's only about 10 of them. You'll find the one that tells you how you can win. And share this video with your friends, would you? But every time you open a knife, remember, always cut towards your chum and not your thumb. Have a good day, guys.